What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Talking Blue. I'm Matthew Mooney alongside Luke Langella. This is a new thing we are doing. We are going to be filming, now showing our faces on the podcast. Some of you guys may have wanted this, but the New York Football Giants are officially eliminated from playoff contention. It was a major disappointment of a season. We've been saying this since the end of half one, but now the final nail of the coffin has been placed for this season. And, they had a bad loss for Philadelphia, which, okay, wasn't bad, but they hung in there and they just didn't finish. Like, they had a lot of opportunities and just couldn't get the job done. What are your thoughts on the game, Luke?
I mean, we talk about finishing. Finishing is the reason why we were 9-7-1 last year and won a playoff game. It's because we finished football games. And we look at the fact this year, we haven't been able to finish football games. I mean, 3 games now have been decided on the final play of the game. That's 3 games that if they fell our way, we'd be 8-6 and in the playoffs by a far shot. We could potentially clinch next week with a win. And that's what's frustrating, I think, as a fan, because you go to Philly, a team that's 11-4, one of the best teams in the league, and you almost beat them. And now you're looking at it and you're still 5-10. So, I mean, to that frustration, it's so frustrating because Matt and I both know this team has a great ability and they have the ability to win football games. I think they show that every week, and I think we know that. I mean, this team has been beat up by injuries. They've had bad officiating almost every game, it seems, and this team's resiliency has fought back. But it's frustrating because that's not enough. And to be a playoff team, you have to finish football games. It's what they were able to do last year. And Matt, take us through some of the frustration specifically through this week.
Yeah. Um, it was a very frustrating week, like you just said. They actually competed with Philadelphia for once, and they didn't get blown out. Last year, they played them in 3 games, including the playoff game, and 2 of them were very hideous performances by the Giants. One of them being the game we had our backups, one of the 3 games and we had our backups in, and almost won, which was crazy. I thought for sure that was going to be an utter blowout. I was like, the Eagles are going to want the number 1 seed. They're going to destroy us. They're going to know we have our backups in. We don't care. And they're just going to blow us out. And, we didn't get blown out somehow, but like enough talk about that. It was a frustrating week. Like they just couldn't finish. Tommy DeVito didn't look good. And
Yeah.
um Brian Dable pulled him mid-game just to try to light a spark under the team and put Tyler
Yeah.
Taylor in, who played pretty well for the most part.
I mean, to get them back in that game really had nothing to do with Tyrod. Let's think about it. Boston Scott, Zakakis runs into Boston Scott. Isaiah Simmons jumps on it. Barkley was the only guy in that drive, scores a touchdown. Adoree Jackson pick six. Barkley gets the 2-point conversion. Tyrod really only had to make one good throw all day, and he did make a good throw. But let's also be honest, he missed some really bad throws, Matt. He missed Darren Waller, who would have had a walk-in touchdown. I believe Tommy DeVito would have made that throw. And I'm being honest. I think that we've seen this sometimes that Tyrod misses some easy throws. He missed an easy throw to Barkley on 3rd down. Those are the mistakes you can't have when you're playing a 10-4 team. And I think that's what the Giants have to start to realize. You're not playing teams that suck. Last year they played the worst teams in the league and they won in the final seconds. This year, we knew that we were going to come against some of the best teams in the league. And I'm happy that's way. That's the way you want it every year. You want to play the best to know how good you are. And I think the Giants showed that, yeah, we could walk toe to toe with some of these teams, but we're still not there yet. We can't finish. We haven't closed that gap. But I saw something interesting on Twitter, and they were saying, hey, the Giants didn't do anything this year. And I think that's also wrong. I think Matt and I can both agree. We definitely closed that gap. Now we still have week 18, and yes, we're 5-10. You may think we're crazy, but I believe we've closed that gap because I believe last year we were not playing Philly that well. We'd never played complimentary football last year in any aspect of the games. That backup game, Jalen Hurts was hurt. We got lucky. But in those 2 games, the 2 meaningful games, we did not play complimentary football. This year, I felt like we played complimentary football, special teams, defensively and offensively. There were mistakes, but they also stepped up. That's football. Mistakes happen. And Matt, I think to some degree, would you agree with the statement that I say we close the gap? I think if DJ played this year, we would be a 10-win team. I do believe that. Matt.
Sorry, guys. I've had myself on mute. Anyways, sorry about that. But I do feel like if Daniel Jones played this season, we'd have at least 10 wins, even though he had a very bad game versus Dallas week 1. Also, another thing I want to talk about, closing the gap on Philadelphia. I've been saying all off season, and when I say all off season, I mean if you've been watching us like since at least April, like you would have heard me say this a lot. Like, yeah, we've closed the gap against Philadelphia and Dallas. Okay, Dallas, not yet. I don't know how we haven't because Philadelphia is better. We probably should have closed the gap on them at this point, but Philadelphia, we definitely closed the gap on. We almost beat them. Went from getting blown out by them last season to almost beating them in Philadelphia, which we haven't done in a decade.
Yeah,
Last time,
Christmas Day. That I mean, Christmas Day in Philadelphia, one of the toughest environments to play in sports. In all sports, playing in Philly is one of the toughest environments, and we go toe to toe with the team that played in the Super Bowl last year.
yeah, we almost beat them. And I mean, we could have, and we honestly probably should have beaten them. I'm not
Yeah,
even gonna lie. It was bad officiating, and something we got to talk about is the bad call on John Michael Schmitz that wasn't even a penalty. He didn't even do anything.
yeah,
Jalen Carter clearly jumped offsides. There was a flag thrown. So we're like, oh, yeah. This is definitely going to be a penalty against the Eagles. And oh boy, we were wrong. They put it against John Michael Schmitz. Not saying we would have gotten a first. I mean, we would have gotten a first down if that
yeah.
call
Yeah, but
happened.
that's a fair point right there. What's frustrating is that we lost 5 yards. I would have taken the no call there, okay. Then we would have a chance to get the first down. Then it was 4th and 9, and we couldn't go for it, and we stopped a drive that looked promising. And that's the frustration we felt all year, Matt, because 3 of our games have come down to bad officiating. The Bills game, a clear pass interference on Darren Waller, missed. The Jets game, Kayvon Thibodeau wasn't offsides. Time would have ran out if they hadn't called offsides. It caused the clock to stop, giving the Jets more time. The Jets would have not had enough time to drive down if that call was not called. They threw the ball in the middle of the field. The game would have been over. Okay, that's 2. And then this game, I mean, Matt, there was some of the worst calls I've ever seen. 3 games that changed the outcome of the game. Let's not forget, before going into halftime, the Eagles should have not got 3 there. There was 4 seconds left on the clock, and they stopped the clock. I mean, that was ridiculous. That was not right. Okay, that's one. That's one bad call. Okay. Next, the center, John Michael Schmidt. Are we watching the same game, Mr. Official? That's 2. And then 3, the Wandale Robinson. That was a clear pass interference,
Absolutely.
Matt. Yeah, I mean, he pulled him down, limited him from getting the ball. That's definition pass interference. But yeah, we're the Giants. We don't get that. And even on the Hail Mary, there was a little bit of tugging going on back there too. But
Mhm.
no, we don't call those. So I mean, that it's just too frustrating knowing that that officiating really has changed the outlook of our season. And I've heard some fair points, Matt, and I want to bring this up. I think you could agree with this. I think officials should start being fined for bad calls. I believe it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm gonna be honest with you. Not just football, but in like I've seen hockey, baseball,
Basketball.
and basketball as well, and like pretty much every sport, officiating has been horrible. And especially the NFL. The NFL, I'm gonna go on a quick rant for you guys. The officiating in the NFL has been an absolute joke. And I don't even know what to say. I absolutely hate when refs side with a team to win the game. I don't care that you want a team to win. You're supposed to make the calls. Okay, I get it. It's gonna happen every now and then. A bad call is gonna happen, and you're gonna miss an obvious call. Look, it happens. I get it. An example I want to talk about the 2018-19 NFC Championship game. That pass interference,
Yeah.
the no call that would have been against the Rams, and if that was called, I think it would have changed the game. I forget who was interfered and who caused
Yeah.
the hit.
They would have changed the Super Bowl. The Saints probably would have made the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
So yeah,
that's
but that's your right there. They changed the outlook on a Super Bowl. They changed the outlook on a Super Bowl, and they just changed the outlook on the Giants season. Matt, 3 times we've
I know.
we've been dealt with this. I mean, it's to the point where it's just atrocious. And if I was Mara, I would be throwing up right now because you know that the officials impacted 3 of your games. And Matt, that's great. We're not that type of people, though. We're not the Chiefs. We're not Patrick Mahomes. We're not Andy Reid. And we don't go down to that level. I think we both can admit that we didn't play a full 60-minute game. We played 30 minutes of great football, but we did not play 60 minutes. And that's why we lost, to be
Yeah.
honest. Overcoming to a 10-14, now 11-4, a 20-3 deficit does not happen. That just doesn't happen. It's unfortunate. I mean, coming back is one thing in the NFL. Winning games is a whole nother story. And obviously, we didn't have them in them. I want to go through some stats, though. Tyrod comes in, throws for 133. Tommy threw for 55 in the first half. To me, that's not good enough. Can't win a game throwing 188 yards. Let's go next. Only 106 yards on the ground, too. I mean, Barkley, he had
Not good.
80 yards. They got him going, which was good. But Tyrod and DeVito pretty much did nothing running. That's been how did we beat the Packers? We were able to run the ball for over 200 yards. I mean, our quarterbacks had no production on the run. We couldn't throw the ball. We couldn't really do much of anything. The turnovers, just like always, won us stuff, got us into that football game. We look at receiver production. Slayton, Mr. Consistent, at over 600 yards again in his career. People, Matt, just to go quickly, I think you could agree with me. Slayton is a competent receiver in the NFL, and anyone that says not just doesn't watch him. Would you agree with that statement?
Yeah, I
He's
100% agree with you because people just don't when you bring up Darius Slayton to most Giants fans, and not just Giants fans, I mean like NFL fans in general, they're just like, oh yeah, he sucks. The only reason he's a wide receiver one is because he's with the Giants. These people diss him so much. People just like don't give him his respect. Okay, I'm not saying he's a top 5 wideout in the NFL. He's no Justin Jefferson. He's no Jamar Chase. Yeah, I get it. He's no flashy superstar wideout, but he's good. He's a respectable wide receiver, and
and
you know,
what quarterback does he have thrown to him too? That's an argument too. And we look at it this
exactly.
way: Slayton, he catches the football. Yes, he drops them. We know that though. Slayton shouldn't be the receiver one, but he has to be. That's in the role he is, and he embraces it. And I mean, he's probably the only guy in our receiver core, Matt, that I could say consistently puts up numbers. Wandale and Hyde are too young. We don't have anyone else that puts up consistent numbers. He's the most consistent guy. He's an average receiver, but an average receiver is better than a guy that like Hyatt who had 100 yards and then has done nothing for three games, regardless if he's getting thrown the ball. That's still a fact. Maybe he's not getting open. We don't know. We just know that Hyatt had 100 yards and he's done nothing, while Slayton kind of just is Mr. Consistent all year. I want to talk about more guys, Matt. Wando Robinson, quiet game, got involved early in the screen game, had a costly drop on the final drive. Bellinger and Waller, big game from them too. Waller had 32, did have a crucial drop early in the game, but he had some nice grabs on the last drive, big catches. Bellinger, we've talked about him all offseason. We believe he's the future of this tight end core. 43 yards in a nice game. And then defensively, Okereke, McKinney, Banks, Pinnock, McFadden, all our guys just came out there and performed well. I felt like the defense competed the whole quarter. And Matt, any guys you would like to hone in on the defensive or offensive side?
Okay, I mean, defense played pretty well. Another guy, a guy I want to talk a lot about quickly is Deontay Banks. We just talked about how good he's been this season, and he clamped down on AJ Brown, which is a huge confidence booster for him and the Giants fan base. Because look, we were texting about this earlier. You
Yeah.
told me Deontay Banks has had the best corner season for a corner in New York.
I agree. Yeah. I mean, in Matt, statistically, we look at between Buffalo, the Jets, the Giants, he is better than Sauce Gardner, and he's better than what the Bills got. He's been a great corner in the league. He's given up the lowest amount of yards per catch in the NFL, lower than Sauce Gardner. So I mean, yeah, you talk about a good corner, and they test Deontay Banks too. It's not like he's not getting any targets. Teams love to test him. Another thing, Matt, 6 solo tackles. I don't know if you noticed. He was not missing tackles yesterday. He wrapped up them good. You look at AJ Brown, one of the strongest receivers in the league. He ran a hitch. That's his bread and butter. He loves that run after the catch. He only got 4 yards on it. Deontay Banks is the Banks are closed on Sundays. They're closed on Mondays. He's the future of our secondary. He's one of the best corners in the NFL without a debate,
100%.
Matt. Who else would you like to talk about? Maybe someone on the offensive side.
All right, let's go with. I'm going to go with an offensive guy. Then I want to go for another guy in the secondary. So
Yeah,
first on the offense, I want to talk about Saquon. He had a pretty good game. I mean, he kind of got us going at the end. He scored
Yeah.
that one touchdown early on. Because there was a fumble. The Eagles fumbled early on in special teams, and that gave us a good field position. So Saquon had a very easy touchdown. He he's really like the heart and soul of this franchise. And any Giants fan who doesn't want him back clearly knows nothing about football. I'm gonna be fully
Yeah.
honest with you. Because if the Giants don't bring Saquon back, they are screwed. And
Yeah.
he is really like, okay, I know we have Waller. He hasn't done enough this season, but um which he hasn't done as much as what we wanted, but it is what it is. We didn't use him enough. But I want to talk about Saquon because like he
He
carries
got
the
us
team.
into that football game,
Yeah.
Matt. And
Yeah.
yeah, like you look at it, we had nothing going, and he just kept his legs moving. I mean, multiple times. Those 3 yard runs that he averaged 3.5 yesterday. Those 3 yard runs were some of the biggest. Because if you watch, he kept his legs pounding. He was getting hit 2 yards back in the backfield every play, and he kept his legs pounding. He didn't juke as much as he usually does. He just ran the ball, and I mean, it's not easy what he does. Like Hassan Reddick blew him up. He got blown up multiple times. He is one of the toughest jobs, and I mean, he just goes out there and competes. I mean, not much more you could say than just the guy that you need back because he's our leader. He is the voice of our team, and you can't just lose that. You lose so much when you lose Saquon, who's such a good leader. Who Matt? Who in the secondary would you like to talk about?
Adoree Jackson, another good
Yeah,
corner. And he's another guy that we have as a free agent. And let's talk about a 76-yard pick six. It was a very tough catch he made on the
yeah,
football, and he was able to run it back for 76 yards. That was his, I believe, his first interception with the Giants. It
it
was a
was.
huge one. And yeah,
Yeah,
he's another lockdown corner in the NFL. I think this
yeah.
season Deontay Banks has been better. I don't know if Deontay Banks will be able to handle the role yet of being a number one corner in the NFL. I think he's very close to it, but bring back Adoree Jackson. He's a veteran leader who can also lock down wide receivers. Saw it in the playoffs last year. Justin Jefferson only had 7 receptions in that game, I'm pretty sure, against for the Giants Vikings wildcard game. And in the divisional round, even though it was a hideous performance by the Giants, like I said earlier, AJ Brown only had 4 receptions because Adoree Jackson locked him up all game. And if we can have two guys, Deontay Banks and Adoree Jackson, locking down wide receivers, that's going to help us win football games. Like, that's obviously not like the only thing. Like, okay, obviously these star receivers aren't going to get 0 receptions. They're going to get receptions at some point in the game, but they're going to have less than they normally do. Because Deontay Banks, another thing I want to talk about him is he locked up Terry McLaurin and Stephon Diggs this season twice, which is very impressive. He's
Yeah.
locked down a lot of good receivers.
Yeah, and being a corner in the NFL it's not about being perfect. It's about limiting these guys, these receivers. I mean, you don't interfere with them. I mean, it's almost unfair to a point. It's really hard to be a defensive back. It's the hardest position in the NFL. I think anyone would agree with that
I
statement.
agree.
Besides quarterback and even quarterback, you quarterback gets hit, it's a penalty. They don't for DB if you lay a finger on a receiver, they get penalized. I mean, quarterbacks protected, DBs no. But I mean, there's a ton of debates. Xavier McKinney, another guy. I mean, this guy, the second half of the year, he has just been going off. Another 10 tackle game. He let's not forget he's a safety, and he's just coming down and he's making tackles and he's playing downhill. He had half a sack as well. He's playing downhill football, and that's what Wink Martindale loves. He likes to blitz his safeties. He likes to blitz his corners. His secondary plays downhill. And we've seen Deontay do that too. Deontay's been playing downhill football, and that's exactly what you love to see from every level of your football team. And really wrap up this game. Our thumbnail today, and you'll just see it. We posted on Twitter too. It's just the perfect way to describe the season. All the Philly fans are jumping up and down. And you see the Giants just crouching down because they knew what this game meant. They knew elimination. They knew that this game was just it's a rivalry game, Matt. We hate the Eagles. We hate them more than anything.
Oh yeah.
Um, and to lose on Christmas, to lose on the final play of the game after a comeback is it's just a bitter taste. And reality seems like today it's starting to set in that the season's over, and it's just a tough pill to swallow. And for Philly to do it again, I mean this game, I said I was happy how they played, but still, I mean it's tough 2 years in a row for Philly to end our season, Matt. It's just making that hatred more. for me at least. How are you feeling about that? 2
Yeah.
years, two Philly endings.
Yeah, it sucks. I hate the Eagles with an absolute passion, especially after the last few years. I always have. And they're honestly like the Philadelphia Eagles are the team I hate by far the most in all of sports. Like not
Yeah.
just football, but like I hate them more than any team in the NHL, MLB, NBA, or college football. Um,
It's their fan base. It's
yeah,
their coach Sirianni. I hate him.
can't stand them.
I hate everything about their fan base, and just I mean even Kelce. We saw that early. He's a dirty player, by the way. He's overrated. High snap. Jordan Riley was bitching him all game. He's not a good football player. In my opinion, he's way overhyped, and he's getting in the face of our guys celebrating like a clown. Like, you're not that guy, man. You're a center. Like, come on now. Don't be acting like you're that guy. And to me that pissed me off a lot. It was early in the game, Matt, but I hate when they get in faces like that.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. Another guy I want to talk about quickly before we end this episode. Let's talk about his brother quickly, Travis Kelce. He's another very annoying football player. I don't
Yeah.
hate him, but after the AFC Championship game last year, Patrick Mahomes is in the middle of an interview. He jumps and screams, "Burrow had my ass." This is and just kind of like he's just kind of like just like he's just like very flashy, just like cares so much about attention. Now he's dating Taylor Swift. This is all over the media. It's kind of cooled down a tiny bit, but week 4, week 5 of the season, all they did for Chiefs games, they would show Taylor Swift nonstop. It's really annoying. I'm not a Swiftie, just for the record. It's just I got to go on a quick rant right now. It's just now it's the kind of thing where all these random girls are going to get into football only because of Taylor Swift. They're going to be like, oh, they're going to go to all these games. They're like, oh my God, Taylor Swift's boyfriend is playing. Taylor Swift's going to be at the game. Yeah, they're just going to beg their parents to like buy them tickets to go to the game. Then they're going to hear Travis Kelce's name and just be like, oh my God, Taylor Swift's boyfriend. He scored a touchdown. He scored
Yeah.
a touchdown. I don't know what a touchdown is, but he scored a touchdown. Shut up.
And
Shut up.
I think
Jesus
that's
Christ.
perfect. I mean, the frustration I have, Matt, me personally, when the Philly fans jump up and down, that gets me. Like, I shown the little kids, I don't even care. I hope you cry. I hope your Christmas is ruined.
Yeah,
That's what I was
same.
thinking the whole game. I hope their Christmas is ruined. I mean, they ruined my year 3 times last year. And I
Mm-hmm.
was hoping to dish it back to them. And Matt, I think the best part of all this is that week 18, I don't care what our record is, we have a stage to get revenge. It's about revenge now. It's about ending their season. Do not let them win the division. Don't let them do it. And
Yes.
I think that's going to be it for the episode. Revenge, revenge, revenge. Avenge your losses against Philly, and let's get back on track for next year. We'll be posting and weekly. We'll be posting all the time. And that's really it, Matt. Go Big Blue, and yeah.
Yeah, like, comment, subscribe, share this video with a few friends, and yeah, see you guys later. Let's go Giants.